What's up, positive bitches? How are we doing today? If you are hearing this episode, then you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh, other times, baby girl, we're gonna cry, but we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is Babe in true connection with herself. On this podcast, we unbecome who we are not, so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Now, I believe today that I have a very special message for you straight from God. It has been on my heart to tell you you are exactly where you are meant to be. You are not 2 steps ahead of where you should be, and you're not 2 steps behind where you should be. You are exactly in the right place at the right time in the right moment. Your past doesn't want you anymore. It is dead and done with. Your future isn't quite ready for you. Your present moment, where you are right now, is exactly where you are meant to be. And if you don't believe me, well, this is why you're listening to this podcast right now, right here, so I can give you the confidence to move forward in faith that you are on track. If you've been asking for a sign, hello, this is your sign. You're on the right track. You're in the right place. You're moving in the right direction. Sometimes we want to go faster than our reality wants to unfold for us. Sometimes we want to live according to our own plan, but we know that our ceiling is God's floor. And what if there's a better plan to get there more seamlessly, to get all the things that we truly want, and we just have not thought it up ourselves? What if? Before we get into today's episode, a couple of announcements. If you've not yet ordered your copy of Show Up As Her, sis, what are you doing? This is my new book, and it's 10 Laws for Reclaiming Your Power, Embodying Magnetic Energy, and Positive Manifestation, because we are always manifesting. Consciously or not, we're manifesting. So we want to really harness our power to positively manifest instead of doing it on autopilot. We are going to be taking some themes from Show Up As Her, and therefore I recommend that you get it so you can follow along. We're also going to be talking about the story of Joseph today from the Bible. So if you do have your Bible, you can follow along there as well. If you are interested in more intimate guidance, I am a certified life and energy coach. You can DM me on Instagram at Vibin with CC, VIBIN with CIICII. All the links will be in the show notes as always. If you're looking for workbooks or courses, everything of mine will be in the show notes and you can follow along there. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Now, there have been many moments in my life that I have felt like my life was flipped upside down, and it was really scary. It was exciting. I was in unknown territory, but every time I'm in one of those seasons, and we can call it a wilderness season if we so choose, every time I'm in one of those seasons, I recognize that I actually prayed for it. I did. We gotta take ownership over our own tongue because it truly is our greatest sword. I found myself praying for God to remove the person that needed to be removed, to give me the strength to move forward, to really give me discernment so that I can see everything that is in the unseen. And every time God delivered, and I didn't love the exact circumstance I got because that person did leave my life, or I saw, oh, they're really not that great, or I got the strength by going through hardship, I was thinking to myself, did something get lost in translation? Why is this a circumstance that I'm receiving? And what I've really realized is I personally don't think God is testing us, but he definitely trains us. That is for sure. And when you're asking for strength, God is going to give you the circumstance to get you stronger. When you're asking God to remove people, he's either going to remove them or have them treat you negatively, and you're going to have to remove them yourself. When we pray for strength or the right people to come in, sometimes what follows that prayer is an uncomfortable season of this wilderness because there's change unfolding in our life and we don't like it. But that rejection is divine protection and redirection. That setback is the setup. That breakdown is the breakthrough. Recognize that when you're praying for what it is you're asking for, what follows that circumstance, your answer that you're getting from God might not be the most comfortable, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get what it is you want. You will get what you pray for. It will either be a not yet or I have something better, or you'll just get it automatically. You will get what you prayed for, but it might not always be exactly how you assume it to be. Now, maybe you're thinking, Cece, why would I even trust God? Why would I even trust this energy that's out and about, that's within me, within you? Well, the reason I personally trust God is because God has known me before I ever incarnated on planet Earth. He's known my past lifetimes. He knows my future. He knows my present. He knows who's talking bad about me. He knows other people's energy. He knows what's going on behind the scenes more than I could ever know. I am limited by my senses as a human. Yes, I'm plugged into my intuition. Yes, I have many abilities to see the unseen, but I am not God. I cannot see it all. And I also came here to learn, develop, and grow. With that being said, I honor that sometimes someone is going to be removed or a circumstance is going to change. And I honor that, you know what, maybe, just maybe, I don't know everything. Maybe, just maybe, even though I think I want something now, maybe I wouldn't have the strength to hold it if it came. Maybe I wouldn't feel prepared and I would mess up the situation if it came here right now, right here. I think a lot of us want that job or that partner, but if we got it right now, would we be able to hold it? Or would we self-sabotage? Would we think we're not good enough? We have to start trusting the journey that we're on. We have to start trusting the process. First and foremost, what's the alternative? The alternative is you don't trust, and that sucks and it feels bad really every single day. Or we can trust knowing that maybe there's just something better and I don't know it all. Do you want to trust your limited ability, or do you want to trust the all-knowing, all-loving energy that has been with you before you've ever been born and will be with you for the rest of your life? I want to turn to page, wow, I opened up right to it, 124. You did not fall out of God's back pocket and stumble upon earth. You are here for a reason. Your life has purpose, and you are inherently worthy just by being born. The same creator who wanted the ocean to span 70% of Earth's surface, the sky to encompass the whole planet, the birds and the bees, also thought you were important enough to exist and take up space in this realm. One thing about God, this loving energy does not make mistakes. As humans, we mess up a ton, but God, no mistakes there. Even if your caregivers didn't intend for you to be here, God did. And that's why you are hearing these words right now. There are no mistakes. So when that person leaves your life, when you're called to move to a different city, there is not a mistake happening, even if it doesn't feel like rainbows and butterflies all the time. God knows more than what our human brain can conceive. And maybe you have an intuitive feeling, I got to get out of this relationship. I got to leave this city. I shouldn't take this way home. Listen to it, because those are little breadcrumbs from our guardian angels. It is messages from God, who knows more than we do. And in that moment, we're gaining this insight. These are things we have to listen to. God is the ultimate artist, and no artist purposely creates ugliness. I've never met a painter, architect, or dancer who told me they wanted to create something ugly. You are beautiful down to your cellular level, and you deserve to feel good. Just because you cannot see that yet does not mean it isn't true. It means your perception might be fuzzy. God knew you before you were on this planet. He knows your plan. He knows what you're going to do in your next life. He knows it all. It all. We don't have to rely on our limited perception, because we're going to freak ourselves out. If I am to think about who's going to be my husband, who's going to be my husband, who's going to be my husband, I'm just going to freak myself out. I don't have that answer. I know God does, but I don't. And if I'm trying to connect all of the future dots in the present moment, my future isn't ready for me yet. That's just going to drive me crazy. There's a Bible verse that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." I don't think that God plays jokes on us. I don't think God is going to give us the best of the best and then take it away and be like, hee hee ha ha. No, I know sometimes we get into relationships and we think this is the one, this is the best person I can ever have. And then that person leaves and we're thinking to ourselves, oh no, I lost the best thing I've ever had. It might have been the best you've had thus far, but it isn't the best you're going to have. And how do I know that? Because God does not play jokes on his daughters. No, he does not. There is something better. And just because you don't know them or it or the job, you have to understand you're not meant to know it all. It would be as if someone gave you a test and all the answers. What would be the point of that? There is no point. You are on this planet, you incarnated here to learn, develop, and grow. That means you're gonna push up against some resistance. There's gonna be times where you are confused, you are sad. When I reflect on my recent months, let's say the past 6-7 months, there was so much of that time I felt so numb. I didn't even realize it, but I felt so numb. And then when I went through my breakup, even though I felt sadness and these lower vibrational emotions, I was so thankful. I was so thankful because I haven't felt that deeply in so long. And we have to remember, we didn't come here just to experience joy and happiness. We came here to experience every single emotion on the human range of possibility. And when I felt that deep sadness, I honestly paused for a second and thought to myself, this almost feels good because I haven't felt this much in so long. And I missed feeling like a human. I missed feeling this deeply. And I think a lot of the time while we're on the journey, we think that if we hit against resistance or we hit against these lower vibrational emotions, we think, oh no, I'm not in my high vibe. I must be going in the wrong direction. I must be doing something wrong. This is what I call the slingshot effect. You know that in order for a slingshot to go far forward, it has to go far backwards first. The further you pull this slingshot back, the further forward it will be able to travel. Sometimes along our journey, our 3D mind will think we're going backwards, but ultimately we're actually going deeper into the wounds, deeper into our inner child world, deeper into the shadow. And what is the purpose of going deeper? It's so we can heal deeper. Whatever we practice, we get good at. If I practice healing my codependency, I'm going to get really good at facing codependency and overcoming it. If I practice facing those negative thoughts, I'm going to get really good at overriding those negative thoughts and revamping them with positive ones. You're not going backwards, you're going deeper, and you are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. You are learning, you're developing, you're growing. It's not always going to feel like perfect alignment, but I still think that that is alignment because it's part of the journey. It's part of being human. I think that we were never promised that life would be fair, and we were never promised to always feel happy. Fairness and happiness, no one promised that. They did promise that we would grow and develop and learn. And that means that while you're on the journey, it won't always feel like perfection. Now, I recently started to read, and I finished reading, the story of Joseph. It's in Genesis 37-50, if you're interested in reading it or looking it up. Anytime I talk about the Bible, I want you to understand that, I'm going to repeat this every time, because I don't know who's listening. I don't care what walk of life you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what you believe in. None of it matters. You can take this as truth. You can take it as a tale. I really don't care. There is information in these words that you need to hear, process, and integrate into your life. Okay? And the way I like to read the Bible is I always say it's Bible gone bravo. I like to make it like a reality show because it is. These stories are crazy. The things that are happening in the Bible are absolutely crazy, and it is like a reality show. So I like to read it as that. Okay. So the story of Joseph starts out, and we learn that Joseph is one of many brothers. However, Joseph is the golden child. He is his father Jacob's favorite. Now we know how family dynamics work. We talk a lot about our inner child. When one kid is the favorite, what do all the other siblings think? They think we got to take down the favorite. They don't like the favorite. Oh, look at Joseph. Dad is giving Joseph a multicolored coat. Because that did happen. Jacob, his father, gave him this rainbow coat. Imagine your parent got you, only you, and you have like 12 siblings. Only you get the Chanel bag. Nobody else. Your siblings, pitchforks. So understandably, his siblings are kind of like, we hate you. You know, like we don't like you. You're not fun, and you're the favorite, and therefore we resent you. To make matters worse, Joseph starts having dreams, okay? Joseph dreams that his sheaf of grain is upright while his brother's sheaves bow down to his. And in a second dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bow down to Joseph. These dreams imply that Joseph will have authority over his family, increasing his brother's jealousy. Now, the mistake that Joseph made was telling his brothers, I had a dream that all of your sheaves of whatever were bowing down to mine and I'm going to rule the world. Hee hee ha ha. You know, maybe that's why we should keep things to ourselves. #moderating spirits. With that being said, it only made his brothers resent him more. So his brothers plot to kill him. But instead, don't worry, they didn't. They just sold him off to be a slave to some family. And then what the brothers do is they start plotting and planning. They say, okay, we sold off Joseph, but what are we going to tell Dad? Because Dad is obsessed with Joseph. What are we going to do? They take his coat and they put it in some blood to make it seem like, oh my God, Joseph got eaten by some crazy animal. They go to the dad and they say, look at the coat. Joseph must have been killed off and attacked. And Jacob, his father, is so sad. He is so sad. Obviously, his fave son just got killed, so he thinks, by a wild animal. But what really happened is Joseph was sold to be a slave. And you know what? Because God is good and God was always with Joseph, just like God is always with you, Joseph ended up excelling in the position he was in, and he was put in charge of a household. Now, this is where this gets very Bravo. I'm talking Housewife Central. It's giving Desperate Housewives of the Bible, because the wife in this household that Joseph is running tries to seduce Joseph again and again and again. The wife keeps going to Joseph and saying, come to my room, come to my room. And Joseph is like, no, lady. Okay, I got a good thing going on here. I'm the head of this household. I'm living my life. Don't mess this up for me. However, she then falsely accuses him of trying to sleep with her, and she tells her husband, and the husband is like, you're going to prison. So once again, I was thinking to myself at this point, damn, his life just keeps getting worse. Where is God? And in the Bible, it keeps saying that God is with him and God's going to make sure he excels in everything he does. I'm like, damn, can he excel? I don't know, outside of prison, like maybe in some other environment or something. But with that being said, Cece's mind is limited and God knows all. So let's go to prison. In prison, Joseph interprets the dreams of the Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. He tells the cupbearer, you are going to go back to the Pharaoh. He will let you out. Don't worry about it. But you, the baker, you're going to die. And both of those things came true. And the cupbearer was supposed to tell the Pharaoh of Joseph, this man in prison who was able to tell him about his dream. And then it came true. But he forgot. And once again, Cece was thinking, damn, like things just keep getting worse. But once again, Cece's mind is limited. But 2 years later, hello, divine timing. I mean, damn, 2 years? But okay, 2 years later, the Pharaoh dreams of 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows and 7 healthy ears of grain and 7 thin ears of grain. The cupbearer recalls Joseph, who interprets the dreams, and he tells him, look, Pharaoh, I know no one is able to figure out your dream, but I met this guy once. I totally forgot to tell you about him. He's in prison right now. We should go get him. Anyway, Joseph interprets the dream for the Pharaoh, and he says, you will have 7 years of abundance and then 7 years of famine. So you better hold on to a lot of food so that you are able to take care of your people and yourself. This ends up happening, and the Pharaoh appoints Joseph as second in command over Egypt, which is huge. I mean, he's just underneath the Pharaoh. Eventually, the famine drives Joseph's brothers to Egypt to buy grain, and Joseph recognizes them. He's like, I know these people. I remember when they tried to kill me and then they sold me off to slaves. I remember it all. However, Joseph realizes that actually had to happen. He needed his brothers to resent him in order for him to be driven out of his home and end up where he was. He needed his brothers to not like him, so he was sold into slavery, to go to a household, to go to prison, to end up as the second in command in Egypt. He recognizes that even though he had so much hardship and there was pain and destruction, all of these things ultimately led him exactly where he was meant to be. Do you think that while he was getting all this resentment from his brothers, he was like, this is exactly where I'm meant to be? Of course not. He was miserable. Do you think when they sold him into slavery, he was thinking, this is exactly where I'm meant to be? Of course not. He was miserable. Do you think when the desperate housewife of the Bible was trying to seduce him, he was thinking, this is exactly where I'm meant to be? Of course not. Do you think that when he went to prison, he was thinking, this is exactly where I'm meant to be? Of course he was not. My point is, we are going to be placed in uncomfortable positions sometimes. We are going to be placed in positions of resistance sometimes. We are going to be upset. We are going to be not in the best high vibration all the time, but that doesn't mean we're actually off track. That could be you being in more alignment than you've been in a long time. When I was in my relationship, I felt pretty much neutral. I kind of felt numb, and I was less in alignment than when I actually went through my breakup. I was going through tougher emotions. I was crying. I was feeling grief and anguish, but I was more in alignment feeling those emotions than I was just sitting there like a sitting duck. I am more in alignment even when I'm hurting right now than I was in a relationship that ultimately we had to go our separate ways for the time being. I am more in alignment even though it feels like misalignment right now than I've been when I was in a higher vibration at that neutrality point. We're not always going to think we're at the perfect place. It doesn't mean that we're not, though, because the God that created us and knows us before we were here, while we're here, and is going to know us after we're here has a greater plan. The plan for Joseph, his destiny was to get him in that prison so that he could meet people who worked for the Pharaoh so that they could link him to the Pharaoh so he could be second in authority underneath the Pharaoh, so that he could save all those people from famine. He had a bigger calling on his name. And if you're listening to this, you have a calling on your name, and your calling is not just about you. There are other people who need to hear your voice, who need to experience your energy, who need you to help them. And if you're sitting down right now just feeling bad about yourself, get back up, put on the lip gloss, go get your nails done, put on self-tanner, and remember who you are. Remember that we don't know all of the plan that is set for us. And even when we feel like we're not in the right place at the right time, it does not mean that we're not at the right place at the right time. Our feelings are fleeting and they're not always 100% correct. Sometimes our attachment system wants the person we're addicted to who's terrible for us. That doesn't mean it's our truth and we should go back with them. It means our body is experiencing a lot of feelings. But these feelings, just like our makeup, they oxidize. I know you've had that moment where you put on your foundation and you think it matches you, and 2 hours later it's orange and your neck is completely pale. Jump scare. Yeah, just like foundation can oxidize, so do our emotions. I know that there are times in Joseph's life where he was going through pain, where he didn't want to be where he was, but ultimately, in the end, he forgave his brothers. He understood, I had to go through that to get here. And you know what? I didn't come this far just to stay here. I came this far so I can go so much further. I didn't go through the heartbreak of my breakup. And sometimes we can know something's wrong for us, but it still sucks to leave it, and it still sucks to put it behind us. I did not go through that just to stop here and be like, I give up and I'm going to go back to what I've known. No. We got ourselves here so that we can take the next step and keep going further. You don't know that you're 2 steps from gold. You don't know if that opportunity is right around the corner, that your husband is right around the corner, and you cannot stop where you are right now. And trust me, I know it's not easy. I spent yesterday crying. I went to the harbor. I took my Bible. I read. I cried. I let bugs bite my leg. That part was really not enjoyable. And I watched the sunset. Sun gazing at sunset or sunrise is a beautiful way to restore and balance your root chakra. And if you're feeling unsafe, if you're feeling not grounded, sun gaze. It will help you. Put your bare feet on the earth. That will ground you. Ask Jesus to enter into your heart and help you surrender to this moment. I know things aren't always going to feel good, and this is something I talk about on page 188 of my book. There are times in our life where we're meant to fight, and there are times in our life when we're meant to flow. I am a natural born fighter. Living and fighting are synonymous to me. I thought I could fight forever, but let me tell you, it will catch up with you if you do not balance yourself out. I fought every day of my breakup. I fought to reconnect. Oh, this is some Black Mirror type thing right now because I'm reading about a breakup in my past that I'm going through that breakup again. Oh, this is weird. Okay, I fought to reconnect, fought to make myself forget everything I was hurt by, and fought to push down the voice that said I needed time to be alone. One day I told God, I can't fight like this anymore. What I heard next astounded me. I heard God say, then stop fighting. Just stop. Stop. If you're tired of fighting, stop. It's as simple as that. If you are tired of fighting, stop. When it comes to change, we can either fight it or we can flow. Fighting is draining, but flowing is rejuvenating. Fighting means trying to control things outside of ourselves, while flowing means surrendering to the current season. Anytime I feel frustrated, especially in times of change, I will ask myself, am I flowing, which means surrendering, or am I fighting? To switch from fighting to flowing, we need to build a bridge of surrender. If I feel like I'm in a perpetual fight, I will recite a couple of surrender and support sentences out loud to get myself out of my head. I imagine I'm talking to God, the universe, my angels, really any being of highest vibrational truth and love. I set this sentence up by beginning with surrendering and then asking for support. It looks something like this. And if you want all of the examples, you can get the book, but really quickly. God, even though I'm feeling uncomfortable and confused, I know that I'm always being supported. I surrender to my current circumstance and give it up to you. I will no longer worry about what I cannot control or what I do not yet understand, as I know it will be taken care of for me. I ask for discernment and clarity in this moment so that I may know how to move forward in a way that's for my highest good. I want to skip to the part where I say when it's time to fight. Don't get me wrong, there will be times when it's necessary to get up and kick some butt, okay? But if you're always fighting, you will burn yourself out. A positive bitch is connected to herself and knows when it's time to fight or flow. We are always striving towards balance. If you're constantly fighting, trying to keep your head above water, introduce some flowing. If you're constantly flowing but can't seem to go in the direction you want, introduce some fight. There have been many times in my life, and there will be many more, when I have fought to study harder, run longer, learn more, and get back up again. I wouldn't trade those moments for anything. Those are valuable because they allowed me to push past who I thought I was and what I thought I could do. I don't only flow and I don't only fight. I pick and choose my battles so I don't have to live perpetually on the battlefield. When do I fight? I fight until I know I've used up everything God has given me. I fight for my health by doing everything in my control to make it the best I can be. Whew. The rest I give up to God and let flow. I fight for my relationship by showing up as the best partner I know how to be. Oh God. The rest I give up to God and let flow. I fight for my dreams by working daily to create content to help others. The rest I give up to God and let flow. I make sure I use up all of my resources and then some. Give yourself a chance to show yourself how powerful you are. When you cannot go any longer, or you feel like you're in a cycle of fighting, surrender and flow. I really mean those words, and that's why they're making me emotional, because I really do fight so hard to show up for you listening, to show up every day on TikTok and every day on Reels, and to show up for my clients. I fight really hard to do that because it's not always easy, regardless of how magnetic you are and how tuned in you are. You're always a human. And I'm realizing in my current season, this is one that is much more about flow. And as someone who was raised in her masculine energy, as someone who was raised as the can-do girl, as someone who was raised to read the energetic temperature in every room she walked into and to be the bridge between people, to get them to reconcile, learning to flow is an interesting conquest, because it's not about conquesting. It's not about winning the battle. It's about actually, I'm going to let the battle be fought without me this time. I'm going to sit this one out and let the winnings just actually come to me. I'm going to let God fight for me instead. Because the truth is, we can't fight every battle because we'll be perpetually on the battlefield. And we didn't come to a battlefield to learn and develop and grow. We came to planet Earth. And at this point in my life, I really truly understand, as I'm getting older, that I just don't know it all. And I don't think anybody does. I think the one energy that can see it all is God. And I rather ask God to ordain every single step that I take. I rather ask God to lead me in the direction that He already has for me. I rather ask God to do the hard work for me, simply because I'm tired of trying to figure it out myself. And when I did, I got okay results, but I want more. And I'm very okay saying that I came all the way down to planet Earth and I require a very high standard of life, and I'm going to get it. And I think that you should allow yourself to accept that and get it too. If you've been fighting your whole life, you tried to control people, you tried to mother people, you tried to make people the way that you wanted them so that the relationship could work, put down the weapons and allow yourself to just rest upon your pedestal. Because this is not a time to fight. When things are outside of your control, when people are telling you that they can't be with you or they can't give you what it is you want, that is not your invitation to try to manipulate them and change them. It's your invitation to flow and let God show you the goodness He has for you. I know it's not easy. Hello, I'm crying here with you. I'm not speaking from some heightened place. No, I'm literally living life with you. I get it. But we can either have faith that nothing is working out for us, that things are going to get worse and our life sucks, or we can have faith that things are going to turn a corner. God knows all. He's going to lead us and we will be okay. I invite you to date the divine. Don't date Dusties. Ew. Date the divine. Talk to God. Talk to your spirit team. Talk to your angels. Invite Jesus everywhere you go. I invite Jesus when I eat a meal, on the trail, when I go to the harbor, when I'm crying. I invite Jesus into every single one of my human living moments, because I feel His presence and it makes me feel less alone. And as spiritual girlies, I know sometimes we can feel a little isolated because not everyone really wants to talk to their angels or read the self-help books or do the healing. So invite Jesus to be with you, or Archangel Michael, Chamuel, Anuel, the Blessed Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, any high ascended master, loving energy. Invite them into your life. They want to help you, but you have to call on them in order for them to intercede. If you want to learn more about how to connect with these higher vibrational beings, I really invite you to get this book, Show Up As Her. I give you a whole entire script, how to connect to them, your ancestors, and so much more. I love you. I hope this podcast episode resonated with you. I hope that everything that needed to be said was said and it landed in your heart. And I just give all the glory to God because I hope that He is speaking through me. I pray that He speaks through me every single day. I love you. We're going to get through this together because that is what we do as positive bitches. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah.